It has been 2 1/3 years since the ruined storm broke. Guilliman can't reach Terra. He can't see the Astronomicon. That means no ships getting through and no word gets through. And what it means is the galaxy was, in fact, cut in two. And that's what we're going to be covering today on this episode of Ultramorons. Me, your host, usual Lane, joined with
Connor, back again.
Back again. So remember like 4 episodes ago when I said, hey, next episode's Guilliman. This is episode. So yeah, last time we left off, we talked about the Shadow Crusade a little bit, and then we also talked about, at least with Guilliman, the Shadow Crusade, him fighting off Lorgar and Angron. Literally last episode was Horus taking the powers to become godlike like the Emperor, which is bad. It's a very long one. As today we're going back to Guilliman, and we're going to see what's going on with him about almost 3 years later. So
okay, now that you said that, I'm curious. You said 3 years later, so the whole Horus Heresy, do we know how many years that is?
I think it's 12,
Okay.
but I might be wrong. Like, it's not a lot in the scale of the universe, obviously, and the scale of the lifetime of a lot of these people. But for a war, 12 years is pretty long.
Yeah.
Like the American Civil War was 4 years, you know?
Yeah. Like,
so
40K scale, not super big, but
yeah,
for like our scale, it's kind of big.
Yeah, so this is 3 years after the Shadow Crusade. Angron turned into the demon, and him and Lorgar left. And they left Guilliman in his 500 worlds with this big mess of the Ruined Storm. So, right now, he is cut off from everything else and only has 500 worlds, and he cannot contact the Emperor in any way. Basically, this warp storm, this Ruined Storm, is... you can't get anything through it. Think of it like if you were an island. Let's say we have the Americas on one side and you have Europe on the other side. And the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, all of a sudden, there's a huge chunk just cut out of it. That was a void of like death. So you try to send a boat over, you're going to fall in the void and die. You try to send a message over, how's it going to get there? So you're caught in the void and die. You know what I mean? It's like a null zone, basically.
Right.
Now, there are 500 worlds, which is a lot of worlds, mind you. If they say every world has 1 billion people, that's 500 billion people minimum, right? So it's not like he's like going to die or anything here, but it's bad because he's like, I don't know what's going on. And he almost assumes, I think the Emperor might be dead at this point. I don't know. So he basically is like, if the Emperor is dead, then I need to create a new empire, a new Imperium myself. And that's what he kind of sets out to do here. And he calls it Imperium Secundus, basically the second Imperium. He was kind of the opposite of Horus in a way. Because Horus wants to take the Emperor and take over the Imperium as it is and do his thing. Guilliman wants to preserve it. He's a bit of a conservative in that way, right? And you need to have an emperor, of course, and an empire. But he's like, it can't be me, because that would be a bad look. Oh, guys, the emperor's dead. I'm the new emperor now. What? Okay, sure you are, buddy. So he basically talks to this guy. He has a chamberlain named not Yugen Temba. Remember him? He got all infected. Uten. And not him. She is the household kind of maintainer. Because Guilliman had a very nice life growing up. And we'll kind of get into later on how people kind of get on him for that. But he did not struggle at all like other Primarchs did. I mean, we even talked about with Angron and Guilliman, where Guilliman's like, you don't know anything about honor. And Angron's like, I don't. So you grew up in the nicest planet ever. I was a slave for most of my life. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. Golden spoon.
Exactly.
Silver spoon.
He wears blue armor with golden trimming. Like, he is the poster child.
Yeah.
So she tells him, there is no point declaring Secundus if Secundus has an empty throne. You must declare yourself. And Guilliman's like, no, I can't do that. I can't rule it and be the figurehead and run the machine and be the face. One, because that's like the Emperor struggled with that. Obviously, the Great Crusade, he's like, all right, you guys got it. Bye. She said, well, you are the last Primarch, the last loyal son, the only loyal son, because that's how it looks. There are no other Primarchs around, or they're evil. So what is he supposed to do?
Right.
So he's thinking about it. He's like, well, who am I going to put on this throne here? So while he's thinking about that, another part of this side of the universe, there is a place called, it's Sotha. There it is. There's a thing called the Pharos on a planet called Sotha. And what happens is one day when Guilliman is kind of walking around at night, he sees a new star in the sky, this bright little dot of light. And like, weird, because all they can see is that ruined storm in the sky that's making the sky red for the last 2 years. And there's this guy who stands there, this guy named Barabbas Dantioch. And this is kind of what Barabbas looks like. So Barabbas is an Iron Warrior, but now he's a good Iron Warrior. not a bad one, because he has been on this planet for a very long time, and he appears right in front of Guilliman on Macragge, which is the planet Guilliman is on, and he says, "How can you be here, Dantiok? No ships have arrived in weeks." And Dantiok tells him, "I'm not here. I'm still on Sotha. You're looking at a projection that is so complete it has no lag, no delay, and no seam." He says, "Look," and he reaches out and he basically puts his hand through Gilliman's chest, like a hologram.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "But you seem so real." And he's like, "Exactly. This is the Pharos." So what the Pharos is on a planet called Sotha, which is a agri world. And I don't know if we talk about it on camera, but there's a lot of different types of worlds. An agri world is just a big farming planet.
Mm.
You just cover it in farms, and that's where all the food comes from. They're very good places to live usually, but sometimes not, because it's usually very intensive farming.
Mm.
In that place, there is a mountain, and on that mountain is hollow. Inside, there is a structure that is made of alien technology, and like these quantum pulse engines of inscrutable function. And Dantiok is running it right now. And basically, what it does is a beacon and a route finder. Think of it like a super GPS. It's quantum entanglement. So it's like not warp travel. You're basically teleporting by using quantum. It's alien technology. It's teleporting, which is way better than the warp, because the warp you have to go through the warp and end up on the other side. You might not make it through the warp. It's very dangerous. They have to do the shields, the eye, the navigators.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do all that, and that's very dangerous. So now you have a machine that lets you teleport. Well, that's incredible. But and also you can also talk to people with it too. Like he just did a Guilliman. He can make himself appear there as if he's real.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't really know how it works, but it works.
So sorry, I'm assuming this is like Dark Age of technology type of thing. Is this like, or is this like an Eldar thing? Or
Well, it's literally like alien technology. Like it's not even Dark Age. It's like it's made like it's probably could be Necron technology. It could be Eldar technology. They don't know. They just found it one day and they're like, "This seems good." But the thing is, it's not a lighthouse like the Astronomicon is.
Yeah,
it is more like a beacon. You basically pick a point, aim it at that place, and then you can travel along that line. So it's not like, oh, infinite teleports everywhere. It's, oh, you want to go here? We have to aim you here and then send you there.
Okay.
So, and it responds to the user, basically where you want to go. You kind of have to put your will into the device, and it will send you there. So it basically like, I turn to Macragge, and now Macragge burns as this like bright point. Like it highlights this planet, so then I can send you that planet. And also, other people can see your planet too from any direction. So if they're trying to travel through the warp and they're trying to find a place to land, because that's what the Astronomicon is. It's this giant, think of it like a super lighthouse, that when you're in the warp, it is so bright that navigators, when they're like navigating through the warp, they can always orient themselves on it. So it's kind of like star maps back in the ocean sailing days.
Right.
So with this device, you can basically highlight Macragge so people can see when they need to travel, because the ruin storm is making that impossible right now, because it's like dampening all light. This thing is bright enough to go through that light.
Okay.
So it is there, and nobody knows who built it, but they use it. But it's kind of like, oh, we should use it on technology, right? That's bad news. And Sotha is way out in the galaxy. I mean, it is so far out. It's like at the edge of the galaxy, basically. So people who spend time there, I mean, it's one of the 500 worlds, but it's way out there. Think of it like Hawaii, right? It's one of the 50 states, but it's way out there.
Right. But it's still within.
It's not
the system that.
Yes.
Okay.
It's so like, let's say you cut the universe in half like this. It's in this upper section, and then everything else below that lower section.
Yeah.
So the 500 worlds are in this section, like the upper section.
Yeah. Okay.
So he is like, well, that's pretty incredible, right? And he left. Basically, Guilliman found this planet a long time ago, and he found this machine. He's like, we shouldn't use nanotechnology. This is back in the past when he first found this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically said, it's a restricted planet. People shouldn't go there, but we can still colonize it. But nobody can enter this mountain. And he put basically a single company of Ultramarines just sitting there. And that was 127 years ago. So it's a nothing planet. Nobody even cares about it, because it's a farming planet that a couple of Space Marines are on. And it just sat there. And eventually Dantiok was like, wait a minute, maybe I can figure this thing out, So that's what happened. And so Barbus Dantiok, who is of the Iron Warriors, is technically a traitor, because he's an Iron Warrior, and they're labeled as traitors.
Okay.
But he right now is now doing something very loyal by trying to help Guilliman get back, be the beacon that people need.
So Iron Warriors are all branded as traitors, even though some of them are kind of.
Usually what happens is, and we'll cover this, and there's a book called Outcast Dead. where when the heresy first breaks out, there are, let's say, world eaters and iron warriors and emperor's children on Terra. They get arrested and they're put in jail, and they basically have to do a trial. Like, are you still loyal or not, type of thing. Or really, you just sit in jail until we get to you, usually, which is however long.
Okay.
So yes, it's everybody's suspicious of each other right now. But Barabbas is here. He's labeled a traitor, but he's doing something very helpful right now. And Guilliman is so impressed by his technology. He's like, this is beyond anything we could have dreamed of. And he says, well, we did not dream of it, but it was dreamed of by beings who came and went long before us. But Guilliman is like, I loathe to use Xenos technology. Like, it's alien stuff. That's wacky. I don't trust it. I don't know about it. What if it like does some weird thing? And Guilliman says, I am loath to use technology, but the light of the Astronomicon is lost to us because of the Ruin Storm. To hold Ultramar together, to rebuild the 500 worlds, we must restore communication and travel links. We must navigate and reposition. We must pierce and banish this age of darkness. This is the first step towards our survival. This is how we fight back and overthrow Horus and his demon allies. So he's like, you know what? We just got to do it. It is what it is. I have no choice. So the lantern's lit and people start showing up because, like, oh, we go there. Macragge is lit up. So zoom, zoom, zoom. All these ships start warping in and stuff. And this guy shows up called Alexis Pollux. And Alexis Pollux is an Imperial Fist. And he was basically stuck he was in a warp storm. And he's like, finally he shows up. He's like, oh, thank goodness we found you. And some Space Wolves show up here too. But the Space Wolves, and we talked about last episode, have a very specific purpose to be here. And they show up at the Wolf King's apartment as the Wolf King seal and Malphador sigil. And it's real. It's old, mind you, but it's real. And it was issued at Prospero. And they were trying to get to Macragge to basically be with Guilliman. They got stuck in the warp storm. They're finally out of it, and they're like, hey, we're here, and we're here with this, basically telling you that we're watching you. But when the seal was signed, he was alive, but that could have been months ago. That could have been years ago, however long they were stuck in the warp. So he doesn't know. Doesn't really tell him, give him any information. So, but the warrant is basically that a pack of wolves is to be planted at every single one near all the Primarchs. And if any of them get out of line, treachery, heresy, in any sort, you take them out. Remember we talked about last episode, Tierfinger was with Loken. He says, hey, if you start getting funny, I'm here to kill you. Which is funny because you think, wouldn't he send the custodians? No, because one, they're very expensive, and two, they need help with the war in the webway right now, which will cover the war in the webway in a time. We have a few episodes until that, unfortunately. And this guy named Fafnir Bloodbrother, basically Fafnir Blood Brother, and he says, you gonna kill me? And he says, if needs be. Primarchs are not invincible. Some of you already sleep upon the red snow. And he's like, oh, okay. All right, tough guy.
Is that realistic though? Could they really?
It depends, right? Because it's like, no, but yes, but no. But they probably have some equipment that they could, right?
Yeah.
Like, if there's 10 Space Wolves versus one Primarch, maybe. If they had the right tools and the right preparations, sure. Because there are some of the strongest fighters. But realistically, probably not. Depends on the Primarch, really.
Right. Batman with prep time.
Like Guilliman, yeah, good luck. He's got all the prep time. And unfortunately, he kind of come in a bad situation. Because what is he doing right now? He's trying to build his own empire with a new emperor. And he's like, I understand this looks bad. You got to listen to me. It's not like that. I thought everybody was dead. I don't think he was dead because I don't know.
Right.
So they're like, well, yeah, right. We'll see how this goes. We're not going to try to kill you just because you have ideas.
Right. Well, those Space Wolves also wouldn't know either, right? I mean,
no, they've been stuck in the war for however long.
Yeah.
So they also don't know what's going on. So they, that's why they're a little hesitant. Like, well, maybe you have a good point. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
So another guy shows up, and a guy named Aenid Thiel. Remember we talked about Aenid Thiel back in Calth. You have the red helmet who got labeled not traitor, but he got labeled bad because he was running simulations, war games against Space Marines. Like, hey, whoa, you can't be doing that.
Right.
He shows up too. He is there with 9 other guys, and he wants to go talk to Guilliman. Guilliman's like, of course, I remember you. You're the savior of Calth, right? And they go into a room with Guilliman, and they start talking. And Guilliman's like, something's kind of weird though. Something feels weird. Like you guys are kind of like they're all standing in a weird way around the room, like a big circle around them. He's like, and then nobody's taking off their helmet. Nobody's sitting down. Everybody's just standing up like ready. And one of them kind of slowly starts moving in front of the door. And he's like, wait a minute. He's like, I got one question. Just one question. Remember that blade I loaned you at Calth? The one for my collection? And then Theo says, yes. Yes, Sally, that was lost. And then he realizes this isn't Theo. Because the real Theo would have made would have been like, oh, this is the sword of Calth and all these different he would have known the blade exactly. So once that registers, all bolt guns come at once. 10 bolt guns go up. And Guilliman's already trying to move, grabbing the edge of a chart table and overturning it, and he's getting shot at. Four rounds are hitting the table and blowing him apart. He's diving behind it. One round clips his shoulder and catches his cheek. He's rolling on the ground, and time is slowing down, and he's running this internal voice in his head. Practical, read everything. Move, react, read everything. No other thoughts. Practical. So he grabs a guy in front of him, uses it as a shield, as it takes the gladius from the scabbard, and as the body getting sharp as a shield, and he cuts through a forearm, and he kills another one with power sword to the skull. Takes a hit to the shoulder, then the lower back, then the hip. He starts getting a little hurt, and he runs behind this throne. He was trying to run towards this throne, and then it starts hopping on top of him. So he rolls out of the way, puts his feet up, and kicks it into 3 more of them. And then he is getting hit more, and he's on the ground bleeding, and he's banging on the door outside. He basically says, "I'm damned if I'll die on my knees." And he gets up, and he takes the gladius through the back. And he gets stabbed in the back, and he's still fighting, and he's shooting in the room, firing blind, because he gets hit in the back of the head, and he goes kind of blind for a second. And he ends up on the floor, basically sword at his neck, and the half of his face is torn open. And he says, "Let me die knowing what you are." And this fake Aeneid Theo says, "Death to the false emperor." And he says, "No, who are you really?" He says, "I am Alfarius." Alpha Legion, creeping in there as they would. But that problem is, the guy wasn't paying attention. He was so ready to be like, I killed Guilliman, that he wasn't paying attention that Guilliman had stuck a little bolter up and raised it up. And he says, "When you have to murder a Primarch, you only get one at your mercy. Do not waste a moment answering his questions while he still has a bolter in his hand." And he's like, "Huh?" Boom, blows his head off. Now, real Aeneid Theo, we don't know what happened to him. He might be dead. They might have taken his body. We don't know. But that was not Aeneid Theo. That was Alpha Legion. So eventually he kills them all, and he's on the ground basically dying, bleeding out, and his guard breaks in, and he is been hit, they count 85 bolter shots. So going back, could his face kill a Primarch? Possibly. These 10 Alpha Legion almost did, and they had to jump on him.
Right.
So, and Alpha Legion are not known for their fighting. So possibly.
Okay.
And they bring him to the Apothecarion, which is basically a hospital. And this guy, Valentis Delore, asks Utin if he's alive, and she says he has been most sorely hurt, and it's the only chance that spared his life. One more second, he would have been dead. And this guy, Master Augustin, basically says, "Look, the only thing that saved his life is being a Primarch." But she says, "Yes, why not? Let us believe he's invulnerable, God who can do no wrong. Let us believe that death cannot overtake him, or that there are no limits to his energy and capacity. Let us put our trust in him blindly and expect him to deliver us single-handedly from all of this." And she says, "He is more than human, but he's only more than human. The Invictus Guard counted 85 spent bolter rounds or impact holes in that chamber. If anyone had struck his unarmored head, or anyone, he would be dead, and this conversation would be very different." So going back in during the Portrabo episode, that sniper shot to Fulgrim's head, it should have killed him, but that demon enhancement really kept him going. So yeah, you shoot them in the head, they're going to die.
So I know, I guess Space Marines and I assume Primarchs as well have 2 hearts.
Primarchs, we don't know.
Okay.
So Primarch biology is kind of weird. Space Marines all have the same biology. But Primarchs, like we were talking about a long time ago now, when they had to open up Horus because he was bleeding to death from the anatheme, they were like, I don't know what we're looking at here. This is not human biology. So that is kind of, they could all have different, they could all have similar, like Magnus is a big red guy, so maybe he's got different organs that make him big and red, you know what I mean? Maybe he's also a psychic, so it's like, we don't really know what's going on there. So they're working on, they're trying to heal him, and also they have regeneration too, Primarchs, so it's like, sure, he almost died, but a week in the hospital, he'll be all right.
Right. So I guess Space Marines then, in general, if they have 2 hearts, why would you not always just aim for the head, right?
Well, they usually do, but it's just that helmet is it's very
thick.
Like it could block a shot, but it depends, right? It's also what the writer wants.
Yeah.
But if a Primarch unarmored head, I put a bullet in the back of your head, you're dead. I mean, because it's going to go in your head and explode like a grenade, you know?
Right.
So it depends. Really, it depends on the writer, you know? Yes, but it's like, it's either, the heart or the head. It's usually how the Space Marines fight, because they're like, either if you get your heart destroyed, you're dead, or your head destroyed, you're dead. There's no...
Yeah.
I mean, Pharos Manus got his head cut off. I mean, that's going to kill him, you know? There's no... Yeah. So... But also, that was a warped and confused sword, so who knows? Yeah. So now, Utin says, Guilliman ordered the would-be killers through. He ordered them through, and no one thought to question that authority. You know what that means? It means he made a mistake. Let's all help him not make another. So basically, they're saying, like, you got to stop trusting people, right? It's Caesar. You can't just walk through the streets oh, hey, everybody's nice to me. Everybody loves me. Some of them don't. Some of them are going to come up and stab you 42 times or whatever, right? So he is still healing up. And Newton says, again, he is more than human, but he is only more than human. Like, we got to remember that. He is still, he's not, he is not invincible.
Invincible title card.
Boom. He is not title card. He is not Guilliman title card. Rabute Guilliman. And Guilliman gets up out of bed and he's walking around with his little IV stand. He's like, he's sitting in bed all day. And he starts giving orders already. And he's like, I must do something more than just sit in bed while I heal. First, Master Augustin, you will carry out a full security review of the residency in the city. I'm not looking for blame, and I do not expect to hear of any punishment unless true dereliction of duty can be proved. What I want to know is how they got in so we can prevent it happening again. Basically, that's how Guilliman works. Always thinking, always planning. I don't know what book it is, but there's one of the Primarchs is talking about Guilliman. It says like his greatest gift is he can like think of 12 different things at once. Like he can think, like you can multitask right as a regular person, but he can like multitask 12 different things at once. Like he just has that ability. Like you can never beat him in chess. He's already seen how the game ends. Not like a foresight like Sanguinius, but you literally just that type, he's a living computer.
Right.
So, but that's how he works. And he's still healing. I mean, he looks terrible. Like he's walking with a limp. He's like a little cane. Well, not a little cane. It's probably a giant. It's like a tree branch, right? One side of his face is like still all like meaty. He also now is wearing, everywhere he walks around, he has a little shield on, a little shield pack, and a pistol. Never used to carry that though. But now his that he's like always worried. Which he doesn't like it, right? Because he's like, I have to trust my people. So another person shows up as well through the light. But nobody knows that he showed up. Guy sneaks in. A word bearer named Narek. But he doesn't use the Pharos light because he's a word bearer. He knows how to use the warp. So he basically smuggles himself in through a ship that he filled with demon things. And he shows up on the ground and he's not wearing his armor, obviously, that'd be too obvious. And when he arrives, he says, thanks, demons, and he kills them. Because like, obviously you guys can't be here. That would be really bad. And he gets on the planet kind of dressed like a regular guy, walking around just kind of doing intel.
Is he able to do like,
he's still he's huge.
I was saying he's still huge, right?
But maybe just a space marine. Because it's not like he looks like some space marines have a look. Like salamanders have the obsidian skin, Raven Guard are like pale white with black eyes. Sanguinius blood angels are also white, usually with like red eyes or something like that, right? But war bears just look like tan guys. Ultramarines also kind of can look whatever, so he could just be a ultramarine walking around. There's no reason unless he has his armor on or his face is tattooed for some reason.
Right.
So he can kind of sneak about.
Is it normal for them to walk around without their armor?
Usually no.
Okay.
Sometimes if you're just like, Guilliman's walking around his robes half the time. Because it's like armor's heavy. I don't wear my armor all the time, And especially in like a place like Macragge, we're not like here on defense. We're not doing drills. We're not fighting anything. It's like, yeah, be comfortable.
Okay.
Now, mind you, a naked space marine isn't necessarily naked. That the black carapace, which is that like it looks like a black bodysuit, but that's like their skin as well. So they really can't be naked. But yeah, you can. But also, space marines are really good at stealth. Funnily enough, and there's like technology to make them look different. Like obviously, we saw with the Alpha Legion, they can make themselves look like.
Right.
But like they're like we 2 episodes a long time ago now we talked about with Krulgor on the Eisenstein, and there was a part where one of the I think it was Garrow's house Carl, I forget his name, Caleb something. Yeah, he's like watching them build up these life eater viruses. He's like, well, they can't do this. And then a space marine sneaks up on him and says, I'm sneaker than you are, basically. So it's like space marines they're really good at sneaking around. So he kind of puts his little hood up and kind of blends into the crowd as he can. So we have to go back a little bit. And go back to Isfan 5. And there is a man in chains on this ship. He is in the dark, chained, wrists, ankles, and throat, unarmored. And his tormentor is wearing the faces of different people. First is Horus looming over him and telling him, he says, you are a prisoner, a very dangerous one, I think. And this person blinks, and it becomes Guilliman, holding a ceremonial gladius, who asks, is that who you see? And then he stabs him in the chest all the way to the hilt. He leans in close, and he says to him, oh, I think I'm going to like this, brother. You definitely won't, but I will. And this man is Vulcan. Vulcan is still alive, but he's been captured by somebody who's torturing him.
Interesting.
And the person they realize who's torturing is Conrad Curze. So we have not covered Conrad Curze and Night Lords at all yet. So this is kind of what Night Lord looks like. They're very nasty guys. This is what Curze looks like. So like that's what he looks like without armor on, right?
Right.
Still a giant guy, but like he's not like whatever, but he is Night Lord's Primarch, and Curze is a very crazy guy. He is unwell mentally because he also has visions, but keeps having a vision of him dying, and it makes him kind of a nihilist. And he thinks everybody should be like him or understand it through like pain and torture. Because what the Night Lords do mostly is these are fear tactics. I basically call Curze like evil Batman. He sneaks around, he uses fear tactics, he like jumps, always hiding in the shadows. But also the biggest thing with Night Lords is they love skinning people, love flaying people, big flayers. I don't think not in that picture you can't see it, but I can see the bottom. You see these hands and the bones.
Okay.
Those are this little hook right here. It's a hook knife. That's a flaying knife. So they kind of peel the skin off, and they might wear the skin on their armor. They're real bad guys, and they did that before the heresy, mind you. This was just regular Space Marines doing this. But the thing is, a lot of Night Lords are criminals on their world, which was it was a death world, but it was pretty bad. It was perpetual night basically, and it was just a lot of run by gangs, criminals, all sorts of things like that. And so most of the Marines that came from that planet were criminals, so they already were a little psychotic. And then turn to a Space Marine, that's gonna make even like dialed up. So these guys are not, they're cool, but they're also like, there's nothing good about these guys. They're just absolute villains.
And so you're saying, I guess after Isfahan 5.
Curze abducted Vulcan from Isfahan 5.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Yes. So that's why when we talk about Vulcan, we're like, we don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
He got picked up by Curze.
Okay, but at least from what I remember, they weren't there during Isfahan 5.
I think they may have, I don't know. They may have been. I'd have to look, honestly.
Okay.
Somehow after Isfahan 5 or during it, he abducted Vulcan. Because everybody likes Vulcan. Vulcan's known to be a very nice guy, gentle giant. He's one of the biggest Primarchs too. Not the biggest, because Magnus is the biggest. I think he's like 11 feet tall or 10 feet tall. But Vulcan's also pretty big. And they also call Curze the Night Haunter because he is just a terror. The planet is called Nostromo. That's what their planet is called. And that's where they're from. The criminals, Space Marines, yes. And he's very cruel. Is his whole thing because of that, like I said, that vision that he has of himself, seeing himself dying. So he tortures people a lot. Sometimes get information, but mostly just because he just likes to do it. So right now he's torturing Vulcan, and the worst part is he's had him for months. He's been doing it a lot, and he wants to break him down. He wants to turn him into a monster just like him, because he says it's like, what was it, One Bad Day comic from Spider-Man?
Yeah, the Killing Joke.
That too, yeah. Right? Yeah, same thing. Where it's like, you would be just like me if you just went through this process. Now, obviously, the Killing Joke, it didn't work.
Right.
And now we'll see if it works for Vulcan. So, as he's torturing him, sometimes he'll leave and be like, all right, I'm going to go take care of something else. I'll be back to torture you later. And an old man shows up in these robes and calls himself Veraci or Verace or Veraci. I don't know. And he keeps telling Vulcan one thing. And now Vulcan is not sure if this person is real or not, or if it's like he's making it up in his head. But this person's hearing up, standing in front of him, and he is speaking to him, and he says, do not kill him, Vulcan. Do not kill him. Obviously, Vulcan can't, he's in chains, but he's like, you're going to break free eventually. Don't kill him. And because that's what Curze is trying to do. He says, you are going to be a killer like me, because I'm going to change you from the most gentlest, nicest Primarch to a killing machine. And that old man apparently is the Emperor in disguise. Now you're thinking, wait, what? How is that possible? Basically, it is a astral projection of the Emperor. And partially because it says here, very few mortals could behold the Emperor's true form and live. Even his voice was lethal. So the Emperor's kind of a weird anomaly in a way, that he just radiates such an awesome power that it's like we talk about in the Bible. If you looked at God's face, you would be blinded. It's like that, right? Okay. Like he's just now he can turn it down sometimes, but if he's not turning it down, you cannot look at him. So sometimes he'll project himself as like beings to kind of guide people and help people. And he's doing that here for Vulcan. Now, this isn't the Emperor himself. It's just a projection. So it's not like he's like really there and it's like, why does he just save him? Because he can't. He can't actually do anything. He's just a projection.
But the Emperor, I guess, then does know that Vulcan is alive. And
yes. He's speaking to Vulcan through this, this thing being like I trust, like, because the Emperor likes Vulcan. The Emperor likes a lot of his sons. But he also sees them as tools. It's a weird one. You could do a whole episode on how does he really feel with the Primarchs. It's the whole thing.
Right.
Depending on who he talks to, it's a different. So Vulcan has really never even seen, because no one really even seen the Emperor's real face before. He usually wears a disguise. Now, you see him with pictures, obviously, he kind of looks like that, like the tan guy with the hair. But like a regular human just can't look upon his visage. So he usually has to like I said, turn it down.
Right.
You might think, oh, why does it just say Vulcan? Why can't he do anything? It's like, well, because it's just a projection. He can speak, and that's basically it. He can only basically comfort Vulcan in this moment. He cannot break the chains. He cannot attack Curze or anything like that. So he is trying to kind of keep him steady. And you're probably thinking too, okay, how has Curze not killed him yet? Right? He's been tortured for a month. How he's not dead? Because what he found out, Curze did when he first killed him, was Vulcan is a perpetual too. Yes.
Okay.
And Vulcan comes back very, very quickly. And he says, I've cut off your head, pierced your heart, crushed your skull, and impaled every major organ in your body. I've even burned and dismembered you. You came back, brother, every single time. You cannot die. Curze is like, oh man, how wonderful is this? I can torture you forever. Because Curze is just real rotten.
So with that, what exactly determines someone to be a perpetual? Is it just kind of
It's a power that can be given by some things. Like with Vulcan, or not Vulcan, Grammaticus, he was given that power by the Cabal. With Vulcan, the Emperor probably gave it to him. So it's Olivia. I think she was given that power by the Emperor. I think it's a power that can be given, but it can also be taken away by some things. So yes, it is. But in Vulcan's perpetualness, he comes back pretty quickly. It seems. That's what's the problem too. Is that like some people are perpetuals, and you're like, well, if we kill him, we don't know he's going to come back. So it's like we can't really kill him.
right?
So he's been experimenting on him, trying to find what would really kill Vulcan. And Vulcan dies again. And he says, Curze has done it as I asked, as I begged, and killed me. Basically, at this point, he's so broken down. He just kill me. Don't even do this whole monologue thing. Just do what you're gonna do. And eventually it's the point he's so numb to this torture, it has a plan. So I'm gonna break out of here eventually. And my hammer, Dawnbringer, is here. I know he probably has it here with him, because of course he does. But it also has a teleporter in it. So I can use it as a teleport to get out of here. Because it keeps it close by too, because it's kind of also telling me, like, look, I have your little hammer right there. So he got to a point where he breaks free. Vulcan breaks free, and he takes the hammer and he goes to press this button. It's a teleporter button on it. And Curze is like, it's not gonna work. I have a teleport like shield around the ship, you idiot. And he's like, yeah, you're right. But it's also a hammer. So he starts beating up Curze so badly. And he's just beating him and hitting him with it, smashing him around the room.
Right.
And he basically pins Curze against the wall and is crushing him. And Curze's like, oh, do it, kill me. I know you want to. And he's like, I am damned, Vulcan, end it now. And Vulcan is like, oh, I want to. But then he sees Pharos' face and he hears that command to do not kill him. And he doesn't. He lets him live. And he says, we're alike, Curze, but not like that. Never like that. But if I ever see you again, I will kill you. And he says, fine, whatever. And then Vulcan escapes. Basically disables the teleport thing, teleports out.
So with the teleporter thing, right? Can that go anywhere? Like, can it go across the?
We'll see where he ends up.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying maybe that's where it's going.
Yes, so he teleports out. It's like Nightcrawler, right? You see where he's going.
Yeah.
So back at Macragge, one night, Guilliman is kind of doing this little party, little festival they're having. And they look up the sky, and there's like another a flash of light in the sky. There's an object falling like a stone, streaking out a tail of fire as it scores through the atmosphere. And then it hits the ground, and they look into it, and they see a humanoid figure that has been turned to a seared corpse by the heat of reentry. It's smashed in the ground, pulverizing every bone. And they're weird. They're like, there should be nothing left of this thing. Like, what is this? So like, it should be ashes. And like, well, and then Gilman's like, well, whatever it is, put it in the apothecary, see if we can heal up whoever that is. So they do that. And eventually, Curze sees the light on Macragge. And he's like, ooh, I think I'll go over there, see what's going on there. So he arrives and he appears on the planet. And before he can get there, there's another person that shows up, John Grammaticus. The Cabal gave him a mission. Said, John, you have a mission. Your mission is, we give you the spear called Fulgurite, which is forged from the lightning of the Emperor himself. And the mission is to find Vulcan and kill him for good. Basically, with this Fulgurite spear, if you stab him with this, it'll turn off his perpetuality and it will kill him absolutely. And basically, they say Vulcan must not live to become the keeper of the gate. Now, this isn't the same gate as the black gate, not the black door from Molech. This is a different gate. Grammaticus has no idea what that means. And they don't really explain it to him. Because they a lot of these people, they're ancient aliens that can see in the future. And they look down the timeline, and he's supposed to be a great defender of terror against the final war against Horus and the war. Vulcan is supposed to be.
Okay.
And it's for his plan that, going back with the Alpha Legion, the Emperor cannot win, and if Vulcan is there, he will win, is their thought. Because Vulcan is such a good defender, right? So if he helps mankind survive, that's bad news. So go kill Vulcan with this sphere. Good luck.
So where exactly is Grammaticus? Is he on the same?
He's on a Cabal spaceship, which is like alien spaceship. It's tricky, right? Because when you have Cabal and like Eldar and alien stuff, they kind of just do whatever because they have like technologies that are so advanced that they can just like, oh, we teleport by doing this through the galaxy, right? So
okay, so they can kind of go wherever. It doesn't
yes,
really matter.
right. Basically, how they get the sphere to begin with is that it was on a world called Traoris, where three sides were fighting over this metal, this material. There were salamanders, John Grammaticus, and word bearers. And the word bearers had a guy there named Badric Elias, and he wanted the spear to use to ascend to demonhood. He was like, if I use this spear, I can use the energy to enhance me, right? And then Erebus shows up, of course, and he says, "Oh yeah, watch this." And he takes the Fulgurite and he cuts open Elias's throat with it. He says, "Oh yeah, feel strong, huh? I turned to a demon yet?" And he says, "You idiot! The spear is not the real prize. The Primarchs are the weapons, and that we can use the spear against." And Erebus actually gives Grammaticus the spear and says, "Take it, and no one will stop you. Go do your task." So basically, this device that can kill Vulcan gets placed into the hands of the man that is already his job. Erebus is like, yeah, do what they told you to do. I approve it. And there's another man, we covered him a little bit, named Damon Prytanis, who is also perpetual, and he was there and killed Cyrene at what is Ingram's planet called?
Oh gosh, what was it called?
Nuceria. That's what it's called. Yes, Nuceria. So yes, he was there when he killed Cyrene. So he also is around too. And now, but there's a perpetual there named Eldrad Ulthran, who says, well, wait a minute, wait. Perhaps this sphere can do the opposite. If you empower the touch of a perpetual, the sphere might cure somebody instead of kill them. Like if somebody's really hurt, maybe you can hit with the sphere and it would have like a reverse effect by your perpetual's life energy force. And Grammaticus is like, maybe then I'll use it on Vulcan. And I can like help him. And actually, because he doesn't want humanity to die, Grammaticus. He doesn't like the Cabal at all. He thinks it's a dumb idea. But that they too bad, so he's trying to like, maybe I can out, So this is always kind of approaching Macragge once, all these different plot threads. And eventually another fleet shows up in the system. It is Dark Angels with a lion. So now the lion's here too. And Guilliman meets him. He's like, oh brother, you're finally here. Full honor parade, the legions run up, the whole works, right? It's awesome thing. They're walking around, and eventually as they get closer, they're getting a little suspicious of each other. Like, wait a minute, what if you're trying to kill me? And what if you're trying to kill me? And he says, brother, said the lion. Brother, Guilliman replied. Well met. Before time, said Guilliman. And he says, you do me a great honor with this show of force. And you do me a great honor with this display of drill. Lion talking to Guilliman, right? But he says, it's really been so long, Rabute, Lion says to him. And he basically hugs him so heavy that it like basically like not stuns him, but like Guilliman's like, whoa. So like, and he kind of has to like compose himself and says, well, it's good to see you. Because like they really like each other. I mean, I don't say really like each other, but they never had a problem with each other.
Yeah.
Two Primarchs are here. I mean, a third one is too, technically, Curze is speaking about. But two Primarchs are here that are loyalists. So great, this is great news. And he's like, I saw this extraordinary light that led me here. And he says, you must tell me all about it. And Gil was like, we'll see what happens. We'll see if I tell you. Because it's like, it's alien. I can't, if I tell you guys, I'm using alien technology, you'll be like, wait, what? Hey, whoa. Because the Lion's also a big secret guy. He loves his secrets. He doesn't really ever, like, he loves to have secrets, not tell secrets, So, of course, he wants to know what's going on with that light, because that's another secret to know. So Guilliman is kind of telling him his plan. He says, this is my idea. The Empire is Secundus, but I have the empty throne problem. And I can't crown myself because that would, be very obvious. And the Space Wolves are over there waiting for me to do that, So, but I need a figurehead so we can rally around and run the machine. Yeah, maybe you, Lion, maybe perhaps you. And then he hesitates and he says, once he has been ratified as a regent, we cannot unseat him if we are disappointed by the character he reveals. So if he makes a Lion emperor, he cannot say, no, you're actually not emperor anymore because you made a bad decision. He is the emperor for good now. Right. So he has to make sure that is a lot, like he has to trust him completely. And it's hard to trust the Lion. He's very secretive.
So with the lion showing up and with all these other people showing up, do they also not know kind of what the status of the rest of the?
Like, all Guilliman knows is the Emperor's dead right now,
Mhm.
and we have to do our own thing over here. They have no idea what's going on. Dorn's dead probably, because Dorn was on the Terra, like Melchador's gone. So it's like to them, it's ended, and we are now in the after. And the Lion doesn't know either. Lion just got out of warp space, and he's over here too. And he's like, I don't know either. Like, because nobody has been to the only person would be Vulcan because
Right.
he sent that message to Vulcan. But even Vulcan doesn't necessarily. It could be something he made up in his mind. So
Right. He doesn't know kind of what everybody else is doing in their kind of status.
right.
Okay.
So we can't trust the Lion because nobody can trust the Lion, right? Big
Mm.
secretive guy. So what Gilman does, because he can't just be like, hey, can I trust you to be emperor? Because that is going to sound suspicious. So he kind of has to like go sneak around him a little bit. So he goes to this guy named Titus Prado, and he was a psyker. He basically says, can you kind of scan the lion's mind, use your little powers, kind of see what you can get from me? And Prado is like, I'm not sure I want to spawn the mind of a Primarch. That seems dangerous. And Gilman says, all right, fair enough. Um, Look, the problem is that we need a new emperor, and I need to know if I can trust him to do it. And he's famously closed off, so that's when he just scanned his mind. And he says, "Okay, I'll try. It's just gonna be difficult because a Primarch, you probably notice if somebody's peeking into your minds, right? It's like read mind or read thought from D&D. Like if you do it and you fail, they'll like know.
Right.
It's like that. And also, he's a Primarch, so probably has like natural protections,
Mhm.
and also you're using a Psyker, which is forbidden. But Yoan's like, I don't nobody follows the council of Nicaea, which
Yeah.
so and also so and then also if he finds that you've done this, finds that you're spying on him, you don't trust him, use a psyker, the lion's like, all right, yeah, obviously I can't trust you, and then leaves, right? So you really have to be careful here.
Yeah.
So as he goes to do this, all of a sudden an alarm goes up, and the Lion's flagship, the Invincible Reason, has just launched a full assault on Macragge City. 400 drop pods are going down to the capital right now. And Gilman brings up his sword right to the Lion and says, is this your treachery? And Lion says, I did nothing. This is not me. And Gilman is like, I don't know. This seems very suspicious. Gilman has about 2 minutes to what to do because, those pods are coming in. It's 400 Space Marines about to land in the city. And Lion says, this was a mistake, brother. A terrible mistake. I swear it. Because it's true. It wasn't the Lion. It was Curze.
Mhm.
Curze got on the ship somehow and basically found a little button that he could press that drops a bunch of pods on the city.
Hmm.
Now, there's no Marines in them, but they're still, big, giant, probably pods that weigh a ton. 400 tons dropping on the city is still a pretty big event. And he is reason that happened is because the Lion had. So I kind of have to go back here. So Connor Curze got captured by the Lion at some point, and he left him on the ship, captured, and Kurt escaped and making his way through the ducks, sneaking around like Batman. And he never actually brings up with Gilliman because he's kind of this is a that's a later problem. It's a secret.
Right.
So Kurz is now killed a bunch of crew in the launch bay, and then drops down 400 of these pods onto the surface, and he is hiding in one of them. So it does two things for him. One, it makes the Lion look bad, and two, he is basically just snuck his way into Macragge.
So does the lion know that Curze is traitorous?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Because
Yeah.
well, he also knows the Curse is just nasty.
Right.
Traitors are not. I just don't even want you. Like I don't. You're an animal. You're
Yeah. And could they? Let's say he doesn't know that Curze is traitorous. Would he be able to just be like, "Yeah, I'm going to throw you in my like ship dungeon or whatever"?
yeah. I because it's like a citizen's arrest.
Mm.
It's like you are doing bad things. It's kind of like with. Well, I guess that was by the Emperor, but like Russ and Magnus,
Mm.
like you need to go arrest your brother, basically.
Right.
So it's kind of like the Lion arrests Connor Kurtz. Is like, hey, you are doing really nasty stuff, and you cannot be out in public.
Okay. Got it.
Gilman tells basically that there are possibly 5+ companies of Dark Angels in the city, and if their intent is malicious, we need to kill them. Don't lock nor threaten them. Just straight up find them and kill them, because don't even play that. Don't even do that.
Mm.
And they go down there, and they find that the drop pods are recovered, and they're empty. Right? He's like, okay, well, I guess it was an accident.
Mhm.
He says, look, we need kind of clean up this real quick. He's like, I want to have reminders of an invasion, no matter how peaceable and unintentional it may have been. Littering my city was and scaring my population. Even if it's an accident, that looked really bad. So hey, let's just brush some of the rug.
Right.
So yeah, basically, the short version of why Curze got on the ship is he was hunting Night Lords as through the Thrombus sector, and he basically catches Curze and then beats him up real bad. And he says, I'll basically kill you." And Curze says, "No, you won't." And they start fighting and fighting, and eventually the lion wins, and he locks him up. And yeah, and Curze escapes in the ship, and he locks him up again, and then just now he escapes again, and yeah. So it was the reason that Guilliman still trusts Lion, even after this little accident, was that, well, the Lion trusts Guilliman, I should say, is that when they first arrived, Guilliman basically told him all of his insecurities, right? Now, all the things he's worried about, which he wouldn't have done if he was trying to do something bad here. And he says, Lion says to him, "When I came to you, you opened your heart to me. You told me of your fears, of the wounds you carry, the principle and nature of your fight, and your intentions for Imperium Secundus. That stayed my hand to see the honesty in you still." So he trusts Guilliman, but Guilliman's still not sure about the Lion. And Guilliman appreciates it, right? And then the Lion says, "That is not the same thing at all. I have my secrets. Men may keep secrets for good reasons." He's like, "Okay, well, all right."
Do we know kind of all why he's keeping secret? What secrets he's?
It's just a natural holdover from Caliban.
Okay.
Like growing up on the Nightly Orders, there was a lot of secretive orders, societies, stuff like that. Also, he just doesn't trust people just because he feels like if you have information about people, you can like destroy them better. He's kind of he kind of likes to keep things close because he doesn't want to like let something loose that could, one, make his legion look bad, and two, for people to use against them.
Okay.
So it's kind of a natural thing for him.
Yeah. So there's no like big dark angel secret.
No, it's like I'm actually chaos as well. No, it's nothing like that. It's just he's just a careful guy, very careful.
Okay.
Guilliman is the planner. The Lion is the careful guy, right?
Okay.
So back down in the Apothecarion, where that burned body is, it has been kind of slowly healing. Well, the medicine they've been throwing through it, and they say, "Hey, Guilliman, want to come down here? I think that you can maybe recognize this person." When he comes down here and he looks through the thing, you see this massive figure, skin still raw and reforming, growing living tissue out of the burned residue. And he says, "Who is it?" And Dolor says, "It's Vulcan." Vulcan had teleported out of the ship into the atmosphere and like a meteor smashed in the ground and died again. And he's like, "Whoa, it's like Vulcan's here too. This is incredible." He says, "My dear brothers returned to me twice. Once from the death that I thought had befallen him in the Trader's Field, and once from the death that delivered him here." Referring to Isfahan as the Trader's Field.
Right.
And so Gilman's very happy because everybody loves Vulcan. He's like, "Oh, wait, he could be emperor. That'd be incredible." And he's like kind of like knocking on the glass, like, "Hey, Vulcan, can you hear me?" And he's like, "It's me, it's Rute." And then Vulcan looks up. He looks very bad. He can't see anything. It's all blurry vision because his eyes is filled with blood. And he sees us banging on the glass because it's Rute. Hey, it's me. And he looks up, but he doesn't see his like brother. He sees like a person standing there, this giant. And the only other person that he saw recently that was a giant was Curze. So he thinks it's Curze. So he basically rips out of these things and starts smashing the glass, starts like smashing at the glass, hitting it with his fists, trying to break out. And it's just knocking its blood is splashing everywhere, and his meat all over the room. And it's still trying to heal him while he's doing this. And he looks like, they say, looks like a revenant, right? It's like a straight up like a zombie come back to life. And all he can say is he's just hitting, saying, "Curze, Curze," as he's smashing against the glass. And Gilman's like, "Oh, this isn't, something's wrong with him. What's happened to him?" And Prado basically says, "Vulcan lives, but whatever he has endured has driven him mad." And Gilman is like, "Oh, well, that sucks. You know, I guess I'll leave him to heal up and come back when he's in a better mood." But so Curze kind of succeeded. Vulcan is like, his mind is like gone.
And is that how he's gonna kind of be moving forward, or is that just as he's kind of recovering from this?
We'll see.
Smashing
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how when he heals up how it goes. For the past 10 nights, people have been dying. People have found people strung up from a wall with wire, killed by something that people just don't know what it is. It's been Curze. He's just been being a serial killer in the night through this city. And he's turning the bodies into traps. Basically, they say it. He mines the bodies. He spreads terror. We cannot trust our own dead, is what the Lion is saying. Because he realizes, oh, Curze is here.
Right.
Like, oh, there's a body here. Flip it over. There's a grenade under it, and blows up more people. He's basically doing Rambo. You know, he's just going through the city, evil Batman style, just real nasty. Just because for the love of the game, paranoia, right? There's a killer in the city.
Right.
What is that book called? Killer in the City of White or whatever. It's that killer, the serial killer that was in Chicago World Fair. He was like killing people at the hotel nearby. It was like something. It was like something in the City of White or something like that. Something like the 20s. But basically, what's happening is this perfect city has a serial killer in it, and Guilliman is, I've had enough of this. This is ridiculous. And he puts it out and he says, all warriors are hereby notified to stop Curze with lethal force. He says, I don't care, kill him. I don't even care. I don't care. I don't care. This is my brother. He's like, he's ruining everything. And during that time, another monster gets loose. Vulcan has been hitting that glass all day for a while, and eventually it smashes out. It breaks out into a blizzard of fragments. And this Ultramarine judge goes out there like, oh, stop, you can't leave. And then he just throws him aside. And it says, vast, dark, and murderous, Vulcan stepped out of his cage. So he is now in the city as well. This muscly meat man of basically like Angron is back out here again.
Right. Yeah, you have Batman and the Hulk mountain.
Yeah, Batman and Bane moving through the city. So he's hunting down Curze. He's like, I'm going to find. I know you're here. I can like detect you. I know you're here. And so they're all hunting Curze now. And eventually, in the high roofs of these buildings, Vulcan finds Curze somehow before everybody else does. And they start fighting, and then they fall off the rooftop. They crash on these lower roofs, and they fight. And Vulcan, it picks up this mace, and Curze has these claws. That's this picture of him here. Basically, it's kind of how he's moving through the city with those claws.
Right.
And they're fighting and fighting and fighting. And Curze, I mean, he's killed Vulcan 100 times now, so he definitely knows how to do it. But it's like not working. He's like he's stabbing him, but he's not dying. And he's like, you live. Still, your damned life plagues me. Still, you won't let me take it. Why do you still deny me? Why won't you let me take it? Eventually, even you must die. And then, really, what it was is actually Curze has been building a trap these past 10 nights. And the real trap is inside a place called the Chapel of Memorial, which is inside the Fortress of Hera, which is eventually. So he takes out Vulcan. He doesn't kill him. He like, knocks him out or disables him. He gets away. Now, Vulcan is strong, but he's all like mostly meat, so he's eventually he's going to get taken down again.
Right.
So he gets cornered by Guilliman and the Lion, Curze, and he's like, you got nowhere to hide. And there's only one entry point to get in, and the Dark Angels and the Ultramarines are stacked up as well. And like, you're done. We got you. And Curze is like, yeah, all right, try me then. So he starts fighting, and he's moving through it like Batman. And he's behind the Ultramarines, he's behind a column, he's in the shadows, and he jumps forward. Gilman's trying to hit him with a shield, and he gets caught with these talons across the chest plate. Lion comes in with the sword as well, and he's trying to get him, and Curze is moving back and forth, and it's what ends up happening is when the Lion goes that big swing upwards, Curze steps back, and it says a talon had punched clean through the side of the Lion's neck. The Lion reeled backwards, his hand clamped to the wound to staunch it. The Lion's been surged forward, and he says, no, I'm fine. And Guilliman hits Curze with the shield and drives him backwards and stabs him twice, quick shots. And Curze calls him a bastard for it. And then he stretches Guilliman across the chest, and Curze moves away. And then when he rises up, he catches Guilliman. Curze has his right cheek is cut open down to the bone, and they both stand up. And then Curze says, now we start in earnest. And the Lion says, now we finish in earnest. His neck's starting to heal up. It's that primal biology. And Curze vanishes in the shadow again. And all of a sudden you get Pollux, that guy we talked about, Imperial Fist is there. He screams into the box, get out now. He has wired the chapel. So he's like, what? And then Curze, you see his little smile in the dark, and he says, I have since birth been a staunch friend of death. I have learned that death is lonely and so enjoys making new and lasting friends. Rabute, great lion, let me make your introduction. So edgy, right? And he claps his hand together, and 75 grenades wide around the eaves of the chapel detonate in a single sheet of white flame, and it just goes up. You're like, oh, they dead? They must be dead, right? Nope. The Pharos, Dantiok and Pollux are watching them through the Pharos and pull them out just in the last second. And they're now in Sotha underground, and Dantiok says, you are alive, my lords, I am pleased to say. And Curze walks away from the rubble thinking he killed them both. He didn't see the teleportation. He's like, I got him. Oh, I got them both. And he gets back to the rooftop where Vulcan is, and he says, I have killed 2 brothers tonight, and a third will make this hour most perfect in outrage. And Vulcan he's not even listening. He can't his ears don't really work. He's just a purpose-filled killing machine right now. So he doesn't say anything. He doesn't have any retort for that. He said he'd kill the other 2 brothers. So he starts fighting him again because he's back again from the perpetualness, and he knocks Curze off the roof, and he jumps after him. And Curze is getting hurt now. He's like, actually, we need to get away. So he slips away again into the shadows, and he's out. And Vulcan can't find him, and he's mad. And Vulcan's kind of up on the roof, and eventually, all of a sudden, something happens, but you don't see it happen. And you hear it through kind of this recollection, because Guilliman eventually has found that word bearer, and got him chained up. He said, "You ain't something by me." And this librarian, Titus Fredo, is sitting with him day after day asking the same question, because what they found out is Vulcan is dead on the roof, but dead. He is not coming back for some reason. And he says, "Did you kill Vulcan?" And he says, "No." He says, "Then who?" And Eric says, "I can only offer the conjecture that it was the immortal human known as John Grammaticus, and a man who leaves no traces where he passes. Whose one aim was to kill Vulcan, and the weapon was a spear forged in the power of the Emperor, the Fulgurite." So basically, Grammaticus had reached Vulcan with it, and he was like, "Okay, I'm going to stab him with it, and then I'm going to put the life force into it to heal him up and make him fight again." And he does that. He stabs him with it, puts all of his immortality into his perpetuals into the sphere, trying to bring Vulcan back and restore him, but it doesn't work. And there's the perpetual there. Damon Prytanis is also there and says, "He stayed dead. Your trick didn't work." And yeah, he is, because now Vulcan is in a casket, a sealed casket, dead. For actually dead. He's not coming back. And the spear went right into his heart. And so he tried to kill him, or tried to cure him, and it said really killed him for real. And he put all his perpetual energy into this, and Damon Prytanis says, "You're not perpetual anymore, Johnny. You're just a man. You've got one life remaining." So that's it for, like, John Grammaticus basically wasted all of his perpetual energy to put in his spirit. It didn't even work.
And that's what I was going to ask. I was wondering, like, is he now no longer a perpetual? But it's interesting. I know. I guess I asked off camera. It's like, why? Because you mentioned John Grammaticus hates the Cabal and plans to keep working for them, and you explained basically that he doesn't have a choice because he's a perpetually killed.
Guys, they just pull him back.
Yeah, I thought where this was going was he was going to kill himself with the thing because he wouldn't be able to come back from that.
No. Yeah, he thought he could save Vulcan and did not. And then Fredo is talking to Guilliman, basically giving him a read, and he says, "This word bearer is alone in the realm that hates his legion the most." He says, "I think perhaps he's a little similar to Warsmith Dantioch, a good man drawn by fate on the wrong side." Because, I mean, you got to think, everybody hates word bearers, especially in Ultramar. After the whole Cal thing, yeah, I mean, he's surprising he's even alive.
Right. So with that, is this still in during the kind of underground?
Oh yeah, I mean, that Calth war, I mean, it went on from 7 years from Calth. So, and this is almost 3 years later, so it's still happening. I mean, they're still fighting through those tunnels. So yeah, it happens for a while. Yeah. Basically, Guilliman, he says, "Well, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill Eric anyways. You're a traitor and you're a heretic, and you are not. I don't care if you answered our questions the way you thought you did. You are still a word bearer. I mean, you can't trust these guys, especially word bearers. You cannot trust word bearers."
Right.
So they put Vulcan in this golden casket after they kill Eric, and it's basically a preservation capsule built by the Mechanicum that was a gentle repose in D&D. You stop a body from decaying for like a week.
Okay.
That's kind of what this is doing. It's basically stopping Vulcan's body from like decaying. So if there's something you want to do with it, they still can. Like the Emperor wants to use his body for more, like take the DNA to make more salamanders or something, you can do it, right? But they still also have like, maybe he'll come back. Maybe he isn't dead for real. And they put him in this nice salamander's outfit. They put his hammer with him. And they say no one had been able to remove the spear lodged in his heart, so that little blade is still stuck in there. They can't get it out. So it's like, well, it was good, but it's still kind of that spear stuck in him. The salamanders take his body, and he's like kneeling next to the casket. For 1 second, he thinks he hears it, the dun of a single heartbeat. But he says, perhaps not. I'm just wishing that to happen, right? So they leave with, basically, they're like, well, we're going to take our guy back because we have no reason to be here then. So that happens, and then somebody else appears. Sanguinius. He's here. He comes up the back of Cygnus. So Cygnus Prime had just happened. And he was trying to escape, and Camanio kind of broke his leg, knocked him unconscious, and did the whole thing. So, and I didn't cover it in the episode, I really should have covered it. Sanguinius actually dies when he fights Kabanda. And there is this librarian they had there, the Psyker, had resurrected Sanguinius. Should have covered it in the episode because that's not a big deal. And because he broke the gun, so I'm like, he had to do it. But it's like, well, if you don't, he's going to die. So, yes. So that was a big deal. And then that's when he fought Cabal the second time and banished him back to the warp. So eventually they got out of there though, and they Primer healed up, right? His legs healed back together because that primal biology. I mean, obviously, if you're dead, you're dead. But if you're alive, it's kind of like Wolverine, right? Like if you kill him, then he just doesn't regenerate. But if he has like a little bit of health left, then you know what I mean. Yeah. The heart can't stop working, basically. Mm-hmm. So eventually they escape, but they're kind of just floating in the warp. They have nowhere to go because they can't see the warp storm is in. They can't see where to go, and then they see that Pharos light and they go, "Well, let's go there." So and then Guilliman also, you know, uses his librarians too. So at this point, librarians are fine again. The Emperor probably gonna be pissed about it if he finds out, but it is what it is. And when they show up basically saying, "Hey, we revived Sanguinius with Psychers," Gilman's gonna be like, "Oh, cool, fine." So Gilman asks what happened to Cygnus. And Sanguinius, all he says is, "We faced down an enemy the like of which we have never seen. It cost us a lot." And he changes the subject. He says, "I don't even want to talk about it no more." He says, "What I want to do is I got to get to Terra and we got to get back to see what happened." And the line says Terra's out of reach. The ruin storm has blocked up all transportation. We can't get back. And they all kind of gather and kind of plan together. And within that cellar where Vulcan's casket is, while they're getting ready to leave with him. And the line says to Guilliman, "You keep too many secrets, brother." And Guilliman's like, "Oh, okay, wow. That's kind of mean coming from you." And then he tells what the casket actually is. He says, "It's intended to sustain our dear brother's Vulcan body in the slightest hope that his extraordinary gifts may yet return him to life." So that's why they have him in this casket. Mm-hmm. And Sanguinius says, "There's a sorry sight. How many more of us must fall? How many more of us will Horus take?" And Guilliman says, "Vulcan lives. This is the cry of the salamanders, and I heartily uphold it. Even in a state of death, he represents the will in us to survive." But Sanguinius is a little, yeah, I don't know, man. I saw some scary stuff over there in Cygnus Prime. I saw a demon. Because Guilliman's ever, well, he's probably fought some demon. Yes, he did on Calth. I think Corfron summoned some demons, but not like a bloodthirster, not a greater demon, right? Something like that is, life changing. Also, a lot of blood angels got killed. So, Sanguinius kind of in a depression right now, a little bit of a funk. So, basically, what happens is they said, once the storm lifts, we're going to leave here. The salamanders just say this. And we're going to take Vulcan home back to Nocturne and lay him, bury him on his own planet. And that's kind of what they are getting ready for. Mm-hmm. And Guilliman goes back to Sotha and talks to Dantiog. And they're doing all their stuff. And everybody's having a good time. And Guilliman is like, "Man, I wish I could do this. I want to just be a farmer, you know? Like, I wish I could be down there just making bread and doing the wheat stuff and just doing that stuff." But I can't, I'm a Primarch. I have to do what the Emperor wants me to do. But it's like, So he almost getting rid of the teleport back, and he almost wants Dantiog to like fail this a little bit so he can stay. It's like, "Oh, guys, I guess I gotta stay. Oh, I guess I gotta be a farmer. Oh, man. Like, just a dream, right? Oh, it's just a dream." Mm-hmm. But it's just such simple pastoral destinies do not lie in store for beings like Rabute Guilliman. So at that point, they get teleported, and Guilliman says, basically made his choice, and he says it to Uton. He says, "I cannot build an empire and put myself on the throne, even if I'm the only candidate. It smacks of hubris, of arrogance, and of overweening pride and foul ambition." He says, and Uton says, "It smacks of Horus Lupercal." So, "Oh, wait, relax." And he says, who do you give it to instead, basically? Let's think, who would I want? He says, "Rogel, stars, I would hand the throne selflessly to him. Sanguinius in an instant. These are worthy heirs. These are noble brothers." And Sanguinius is here. Mm-hmm. So perfect. Mm-hmm. So they're like, "Wait," he's like, "I have an idea. It should be Sanguinius. Everybody loves Sanguinius. I mean, look at him. He's an angel." And that's what he does. He says, "We're going to make Sanguinius the emperor." And Sanguinius is like, "Yeah, okay, I guess. If you want." Still in that little funk. And it's like this huge parade, almost on the level of, what's that word? That world that,
the Orc one.
Yes, that they took over to make Horus War Master. Ulanor, yes, there you go. Ulanor. It's kind of like that. Not the whole. Basically the whole planet is a parade right now. It's ancient battle kings. These giant war horns are sounding. It's like this massive, super loud party. And Guilliman steps aside, grabs Sanguinius' wrist, and raises the sky. Right, and that's this picture right here. Going doing and Sanguinius is like, "Yeah, all right, whatever." And it says, at the top of his voice, Guilliman declared the regency, but the noise of the multitude was too great for the words to be heard. So it says people are just so happy and so joyous that they can't even hear Guilliman trying to talk over it. And this is it. Right? This is the founding of the Second Imperium with the Emperor Sanguinius. And the lion says, "This we do, for it is right." So Guilliman has now raised the second Imperium and is ready to do this until the storm clears and then get back to Earth and see what happened. And that's kind of where we're going to end it here. So, yeah, any questions?
So I guess I don't remember this from the Blood Angels episode. Why is Sanguinius in the war?
Well, when he escaped Cygnus Prime, they had the warp jump to leave. And they got stuck in the warp when they tried to warp jump out.
Okay.
And there was nowhere to go because the warp was so nasty right now. But then they saw Macragge was lit up and they were like, well, let's go there.
Right.
So, okay, so they got stuck, lost in the warp for a time. Same thing with the lion and I guess not the Night Lords because they can figure it out because they're the chaos. They know all things.
Yeah, and so then also, Curze is still on, like around in.
Supposedly, he kind of vanished in the night, and we just don't know where he went.
So maybe,
I mean, there's not a lot of killing, but also now you have the lion, the Sanguinius, and Guilliman all together. So I don't know if Curze wants to come back out again.
Right,
it might not end well for him.
Yeah, and so then also, I'm just gonna say this out. Maybe that's not Vulcan.
Yes,
he's like dead, right?
So yeah, he is dead. Spear's in his heart, and he's in the casket, and the salamanders are ready to go whenever the storm clears, and then bring him back to his planet and bury him on his planet. So yes, as of right now, Vulcan is dead.
Okay,
but they have hope.
And so I'm wondering what's I feel like it's like, oh, if you move the spear out of his chest, then he'll come back or something.
Of course, I mean,
yeah, whatever.
They just have to figure out how to do it.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know if I have any other questions. So it was just Curze in Ultramar. The Night Lords did not go with him, or
because he was arrested. Remember, the Lion. So the Night Lords weren't. Some of the Night Lords were arrested, but they're still in prison on the ship. But yeah, so no, it's a very small group. Now the Night Lords definitely want to come and get their guy, so they might show up soon. But right now, no, there are no Night Lords here.
Okay.
Just the Word Bearer and Curze. And Curze vanished the night, and the Word Bearer is dead. He got killed by Guilliman.
Got it. And so that Word Bearer, he was evil, right? I know he's like, oh no, I'm not evil, but like he was.
Well, he's like, you can kill me. I helped you, and he's like, and you're just your Word Bearer. Like you can't just like interact with us anymore. And also, like what you did back on Calth was just so bad. Like I'm not forget. Like it's not like Dantioch where he's an Iron Warrior, but he never did anything bad.
Right.
He just by name is associated with it. Whereas the other guy's like, no, you were there on Calth. You were, so it's definitely a lot of big stuff happens in this section. I do think this is a tighter episode though, like a tighter kind of subject. But a lot of stuff happens here, and Guilliman almost dies.
Yeah.
And the Vulcan dies, and then the Lion almost dies, almost blown up, and then gets stabbed in the neck. He's like, hey, it's fine actually. But the Lion is like unbelievably hardy, I guess. He's probably the best sword fighter. I might be wrong, but he's definitely up there. Top 3, easy. Curze is just good because he can just run around.
Right.
Like he just hits you, moves back in the shadows, hits you, it's similar to Corvus Corax, where he has these like hit and run attacks.
Right.
One-on-one, you might get him, but he's not going to do one-on-one. He's going to fly around and drop bombs on you. He's moving around too fast.
Yeah, and he seems very kind of evil rogue, and then Raven Guard is very like good rogue. Yeah. This one, like, but then John Grammaticus is still out there, I guess, but he's not a perpetual.
Nope, lost the juice. Bartanius is like, hey, dummy, that didn't even work. You idiot. Slaps him back in the head, kills him. Oh, whoops. But yeah, he's like, yeah, you wasted it. But maybe he didn't, because the spirit's still in his heart,
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, all right. Well, if that's all, if you guys get this far in the video, in the comments, put Vulcan lives. So, you got this far. Or just whatever comment engagement you want to do. But anyways, yeah, that's this episode. If you liked it, do all this stuff. If you didn't, well, I don't know what you did now. This was, I like this episode. But anyways, enough rambling. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.